Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Strange Wonders. As always, I'm your host, Mr. G. Today, we're looking at birds from tropical regions. Not much else to say there. Our first bird is the hoatzin. Native to South America, they're seemingly unassuming. In fact, the adults really don't have much to say about them. They're just another herbivorous bird that kinda looks funny. But the chicks are where we find the good stuff. You see, the chicks have claws on their wings. Yes, just like a raptor. Since the chicks can't fly if they're threatened, they can use their wing claws to climb down branches to escape predators instead, while the adults take care of the threat. These claws are some of the biggest concurrent evidence of the fact that birds are dinosaurs, since these claws are very pretty clearly dinosaurian. But the claws basically become vestigial when they become adults, so whatever. Then we got hornbills. Native to Africa and Asia, these birdies have long, hooked bills and are omnivores. They also have crests on their head. Also, hornbills are monogamous, meaning they only have one mate for their entire life, and if one dies, they never mate again. One species of hornbill even locks their mate in a cage when they lay eggs. Okay, they put them in a tree cavity and then build sort of bars around them to make sure they're safe from predators until the chicks are ready to leave. And then he looks for food and delivers it to his mate. Yeah, very secure birds. There's also ground hornbills. They look like hornbills, but they're not. And they mostly walk on the ground. They can fly, but they only use that to go away faster. Then there's the toucans, which also have long hooked bills. This, children, is what we like to call convergent evolution. Anyway, native to the Americas, toucans use their large beak as a sort of heat regulator, making sure they don't overheat in the hot jungle. And they're omnivores, eating things like lizards and fruit. And then there's parrots, a large order of birds defined by their colorful feathers, squawking noises, and the fact that some of them are able to imitate human speech, thanks to their tongues allowing them to mimic sounds. Parrots are primarily herbivores, eating mostly fruits, and they're very social birds, flocking in massive flocks among the trees, and like a lot of tropical birds, they don't actually make nests. Rather, they nest in the holes of the trees. Very colorful birdies, and they're also smart too. Then we got the peafowl. Like the ground hornbill, these guys can fly, but they prefer walking. Anyway, these guys are famous for the male's bright coloration and huge tail feathers, which, as you can see, are covered in all sorts of spots that look like eyes. Yeah, very beautiful birdies. Except for the females, they're just dull and don't have the tail fan, so no one cares about them. Now, looking at the screen right now, you might be thinking, what's a chicken doing here? Well, Buster, let me explain. This is the red jungle fowl. Native to India, this guy is where chickens come from, so I'd say they're pretty important birds. Then there's the honey guide. Native to Africa, these birds are interesting because they have a symbiotic relationship with humans. Yes, really. Basically, the bird will guide humans by getting their attention and then lead them to a beehive where they wait for the human to get rid of the bees so the bird can eat the grubs, and maybe the human can get honey. Now, contrary to popular belief, they do not do this with honey badgers, and this has been proven multiple times. Honey badgers have never been observed following them, and they literally have no reaction to the sound of their chirping. So, yeah, it's one of those things that everyone claims about animals, but it's not true. There's a lot more tropical birds out there, but those are the ones I wanted to highlight. Well, let's look at the cards. Hotzin's fine. Southern ground hornbill is fine. Toucan's fine. And, like how they throw shade at Fruit Loops by saying they eat real fruits. But then again, I guess it's technically true, since Fruit Loops don't actually have fruit in them. That's why it's spelled F-R-O-O-T. Wait a minute! Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute! Oh my gosh. This card spells it properly. It spells it with fruit, as in the actual spelling. Oh my gosh. I think I just found more evidence for... Never mind. Never mind. Not going down that rabbit hole again. And the macaw card is fine. Sorry, I just need to take a moment to recover from that. They spelled it F-R-U-I-T, but it's F-R-O-O-T. And like, everyone remembers it being spelled the other way, and what's going on? Okay, now that we got over that, let's talk about human relations. Hoatzins, they're only really talked about because of the claws. Hornbills aren't talked about much, but the Lion King featured a hornbill named Zazu, so that's a thing. Toucans are pretty famous birds. They often show up because of their coloration, and also so they can pitch cereal. That, is creeping me out more and more. Parrots are very popular pets thanks to their ability to mimic human speech, and they show up a lot in media, sometimes portraying them as straight up being able to hold conversations. But parrots are very needy and costly birds, so be careful before you get one. Also, they live a long time, so make sure you can live long enough to make sure they don't go lonely. Peacocks are very famous birds and have appeared in many historical myths and things like that. Like, for example, in Greece, it was said the reason that the peacock's tail feathers have eyes on it is because it was a way to honor the fallen 100-eyed giant. So, yeah. Red jungle fowl where we get chickens from, so not much else to say there. And, yeah, I got nothing else. Well, that's all for this episode of Strange Wonders. See you guys next time when we finish up Monsters of the Deep. Farewell. Now, if you excuse me, I gotta go think about that spelling.